Okay, before you rush to the comments screaming, but Apple Notes is live, let me explain. You might have subscribed to this channel after catching one of my Apple Notes tutorials. And now here I am telling you I've moved on. Does that mean you should too? Not necessarily, but there's a bigger conversation to be had here. So let's dive into this.
Paperless movement, your productivity, your way.
Apple Notes is great. Simple, accessible, intuitive. If you're handwriting your notes because you're not a lightning fast typist, I get it. Pen to paper or stylus to screen feels natural for a lot of people. But here's the million-dollar question. Could you save time and maybe even think more clearly by recording audio and transcribing it instead? There are different types of people out there who can think differently, better with pen and paper, typing, or even speaking. That's it. You just need to realize what works best for you. And that's what we will talk about in this video. It's not about bashing Apple Notes. It's about understanding where it fits or doesn't in your personal knowledge management system. I didn't fully abandon Apple Notes. I just stopped using it for deep, structured note-taking a long time ago already. These days, I use it as an intermediate tool. Quick notes, grocery lists, jotting down measurements of furniture, snap a pic, transcribe a receipt, stuff like that. Sure, Apple Notes has leveled up, tagging, audio and PDF search and more. Amazing stuff! But here's the thing. It still ties me to the Apple ecosystem, and getting the information out of the note-taking app isn't that easy, especially if you're living in a mixture with a Windows machine, for example. These things are limiting. As accessible as Apple's native tools are, as a busy professional, I hit the ceiling very quickly with those tools. Whether it's comparing reminders to Todoist, or Apple's Freeform to Miro, or now Apple Notes to Heptabase. When it comes to my serious thinking tools, I've graduated to more sophisticated platforms like Heptabase or even Tana. But that doesn't mean you should. If you're not ready to dive into advanced tools, Apple Notes is a solid place to start, especially if you adopt tool-agnostic workflows like the ones I'll outline later in this video. To be highly productive as a busy professional, there's no way around our ICOR methodology. It's our tool-agnostic productivity methodology. Tool-agnostic, that's important. So it doesn't matter what tool you apply it to, it will work. So now let's look at this with an Apple Notes perspective. Because in ICOR, we teach systems that focus on clarity, organization, and scalability. We also define a productivity system end-to-end to get a holistic view that makes it easy to identify the parts that can be improved. Here's the kicker. If you just have a few tasks to handle per week, you're fine. But if you're juggling multiple projects, launching a side hustle, or stepping into a bigger business role, the simplicity of Apple Notes as a one and all solution quickly becomes a bottleneck. So that's where combining tools is also another insight many of our members get after they understand the ICOR methodology. Because that's where ICOR shines, helping busy professionals like us get organized at a deeper, more scalable level. For this video, we focus on just one concept from the ICOR methodology, the capturing beast. It's simple but powerful, streamlining your information capture process so you always know where to store things and, more importantly, how to find them when you need them. That's what many of our busy professionals struggle with. They're good in jotting things down, but the moment they need to retrieve the information when they need it, they struggle to find it in the scattered tool stack they have, but also even if they're just only using Apple Notes to find information there. So let's break it down step by step and then we'll test it out in Apple Notes. Spoiler alert, it will become obvious why I hit the ceiling with Apple Notes. So the capturing beast is split into 3 buckets. The first bucket is My Current Projects. This bucket is all about focus. It's where you keep everything related to your active work in progress stuff. Think of it as your now zone. What goes here? Whether you're managing a product launch, writing a book, or planning a family event, if you're actively working on it, it lives here. This bucket keeps your present focus clear, uncluttered and actionable. Key here is, this is not the project management tool or anything like that. This is really your personal zone where you think about everything that you need in order to work on a specific project. So if you're working on a specific project in a project management tool, you can create a My Project part in your bucket, in your note-taking and PKM tool, in order to have a place where you take the notes and think about the stuff personally in a safe zone without anybody else seeing what you're doing there with your messy thoughts and things like that. And then the final product goes into the project management tool, sharing it with the team, if you have a team. But that's something we come later to as well. So how to set this up in Apple Notes? You can create a folder called Current Project. Inside it, create subfolders or notes for each project. For example, Q4 marketing plan, vacation planning, workshop outline. So this means whenever you have anything related to any of these projects, you know exactly the single source of truth of this project you go to, and you are able to collect the information there. So this means later on you also have an easy place to find the information again. The second bucket of the Capturing Beast is My Key Elements. These are the pillars of your life. Think relationships, health, personal growth, anything that's essential, ongoing, and central to your well-being. These don't have deadlines. They are long-term. So what goes here? Notes for improving your relationship with your partner, fitness plans, or idea development around career growth, or even life goals. This is where you store insights and actions that fuel your personal evolution. It's an ever-expanding place that you know you can go to and add more relevant information into this bucket for the different parts, for the different key elements. So how to set this up in Apple Notes? Well, make a folder called Key Elements. Inside it, create subfolders for each major life area, such as health, relationship, personal growth. Each subfolder becomes a space for articles, notes, or reflections related to that area. And finally, the third bucket in the Capturing Beast are My Topics. This is your FOMO bucket. Fear of missing out. It's where all your random curiosities, ideas, and I might need this someday thoughts live. But let's be clear, this is not your action zone. It's for exploration, not execution, until you decide to make it one. What goes here? New ideas, research material for future projects, or articles that caught your eye but aren't urgent. It's your idea parking lot. And how you set it up in Apple Notes? Well, create a folder called Topics. Add notes or subfolders for each topic you're curious about. For example, AI tools for productivity, home renovation ideas, learning Spanish. So I can finally talk with our business partner. But maybe he should rather learn German then. I don't know. We keep speaking English, lost in translation many times. But here's the secret sauce. Limit yourself to actively engaging with just 3 topics at a time. The rest can sit on the bench until you're ready to focus on them. Or maybe you forget them completely, but at least you noted them down in the right bucket, and if you need to find something related to this or you have more relevant information coming to that topic, you know where to go to. But here's the thing, these buckets work anywhere. You can replicate the system in Apple Notes, Notion, Tano, or even Notebook. And that's something that we are advocating. Because having the same structure in many tools makes it easy to understand. But why should you have many tools with the same structure? Isn't this duplicating information? Well, that's where you need to understand that there are different information types. So there might be shallow thoughts, like the topics, that's much easier to collect. For example, in a Read Later app like Readwise Read Later or Raindrop or you name it. And then you focus on this app to collect your topics until they become something more important. And you move this then into your deep thinking tool. For example, in my case, it would be Heptabase, where I can work completely different on this type of information, evolving my key elements and things like that. So that's where the superpowers of each tool can be leveraged. And you don't scatter information because you focus on one tool for specific use cases. So that's why you can replicate the system inside Apple Notes. But as you scale, taking on more projects, side hustles, or leveling up in life, you'll notice the cracks in Apple Notes. It's not built for this deep linking, bidirectional organization or managing a high volume of information seamlessly. There will be always people out there telling you you can use this for all. Also OneNote, Obsidian, that's the only tool that you need. If you're a busy professional and your life is complicated, there's not only the one and all solution out there. You need to take what is out there, the best of it, and make it work seamlessly together. That's where tools like Tana and Heptabase shine. They let me think deeper, faster, and more flexible. But I won't sugarcoat it. There's a learning curve, especially for Tana. If you're too busy to climb that hill, sticking to Apple Notes with an ICOR inspired structure like the Capturing Beast, it's more than enough to get started. One last thing, we've just scratched the surface of knowledge management. The tip of the iceberg, I would say. ICOR goes much deeper, helping busy professionals like you optimize information and action management. For example, ICOR separates personal knowledge management from business knowledge management. Why? Because blending them creates clutter and confusion. Your PKM is your safe space for messy, chaotic thinking. You don't want to see my personal knowledge management when I think about things. I need to lay it out like papers on a desk, post-its all over the place. That's what I replicate in the digital world, and nobody else needs to see it. What people need to see, my team, is the outcome, the refined, the refurbished information that goes into the PKM. Therefore, we have a clutter-free business knowledge management system and make the work together in a team highly efficient. So in a nutshell, your business knowledge management is for polished, shareable insights. Even if you're a solopreneur, separating these systems is a game changer. If you want me to dive deeper into this separation and share the tools I use to manage both, let me know in the comments below. So is it time to kill Apple Notes? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on where you are in your journey. As a beginner, stick with Apple Notes. Organize it with the 3-bucket system and focus on clarity. And then see when you try to scale if you hit a ceiling. Because then you become the intermediate user, and there I highly recommend to explore more advanced tools like Heptabase. It's still a very easy learning curve, but it has it all and is very reliable and accessible on all the devices. And if you're already advanced, you might want to dive into tools like Tana. These are game changers for scaling your productivity because you will be able to organize your information while you're capturing it. And that's why having Apple Notes in front of it as an intermediate step to capture information and then process it into my final destination in Heptabase, Tana removed this step. So Tana, I immediately write down and organize the notes. So therefore Tana became the shallow thinking tool where I use it for meeting notes, notes about people in my CRM and things like that. And Heptabase is really about deep thinking. The buckets that I mentioned, like my current project or the key elements, this is really what is living in Heptabase. And then there's the Readwise Read Later app that I mentioned also. There I really have all my FOMO stuff that I just capture and probably never look up again. So if you want to see how I use Tana, Heptabase and Reader in combination, I have another video that dives deep into this where I lay out on a whiteboard exactly how this works. So if you're interested to watch this, and if you are curious about at what level you are, if you're a beginner, an intermediate or an advanced user, go to paperlessmovement.com because there we have a free quiz to identify gaps in your productivity system. Let me know in the comments below if this video changes how you think about Apple Notes. Are you ready to move on, or will you double down and make it work for you? Share your thoughts below and let's ICOR.